Hello everyone, this is Naresh IAS Academy digital platform for the IAS Mains Exam or Civil Service Mains Exams. This is the second part and we are covering the entire General Studies question paper 2 through the 20 topics, because we covers each General Studies paper in the 20 days. So, this is my effort to provide exact information so that you can ensure your selection and you can guide yourself. So definitely this series will enhance you and able you to solve all type of the questions. You may contact for offline classes. We are running at the Jaipur center, and you may also connect our answer writing session. And for these information, you must visit our website Naresh IAS Academy. So, General Studies question paper 2, and this is the second topic. The second topic is Union and States. Dimensions of relations. We can understand the topic under the two subdivision. One is the scope of the studies. How can we study the different dimensions of union and states, and what are the emerging issues or challenges? Emerging issues or challenges. In the scope, one is federalism or the federal aspect. Second is tendency of strong center or centralization. Or third is traditional or the conventional issues of union state relationship. And here I will discuss the emerging issues in the recent time. Okay, this is our topic. Scopes. What do you mean by the federal structure and the federalism? A very important topic. Here I will only explain a specific approach which is unnecessary, targeting the different kinds of questions. In the federal structure, union and states have equal position, almost equal position. States are the participant with the different areas with union government, and there is no matter of supremacy of union over the states. For example, states are the participant in the election of Indian presidents, and states have allocated different seat in the upper house of Indian parliament, the Rajya Sabha, and there are so many legal issues or executive matters where the consent of state is required. So, the federal structures in India have placed, but not in absolute form. Within the federal structure, it have planned to enhance or strengthen the center government or union government, basically the Iber Jennings have stated, this is a strong oriented centers within the federalism. So we have to understand, if we emphasize over the federalism, so then how it will contrast with the centralization. Definitely both are contrast to each other. Strong federalism definitely oppose the centralization, because in the strong federalism, states have equal position in all the aspects with the union government. But in case of strong centralization, states lost its position and they simply becomes the followers or implementators of the orders of the union government. So we have to understand the federal structures, what kind of drawbacks or shortcomings have created in Indian politics or governance, and how can these drawbacks be removed through the cooperative federalism. So mainly the federal structures sometimes have stood the state against the unions, and states have strongly opposed the orders and laws of the unions. So it is not a good tendency. And another disputed aspect is, states have always complained that they have more responsibilities but the least financial resources, and also the union is trying to suppress or to making the states their followers only. So these kinds of drawbacks we can trace. And Austin, a great philosopher and thinkers, who stated that in the last 70 years we have seen so many times the tendency of cooperative federalism in India within the relationship of union and states. There are so many examples where the states governments have cooperated with the unions, whether the matters may be related to the environmental issues, implications of the environmental laws, or the applications of social welfare schemes, or strengthening the power of SC, ST or the backward classes, or the women's matters, and sometimes the matter of GST. However, it was delayed initially, states support this, but finally or ultimately states were agreed to give their assent on the GST bill. So this is the tendency of cooperativism according to the Austin. It also a part of the federalism. So many scholars have stated that definitely we should replace the federal tendency through the cooperative federalism, because within the federal structures the Indian constitution provides the strong position to the union government theoretically and practically in case of the distribution of powers or the distribution of financial resources. So definitely the union must try to take cooperation of the states, so that both union and states at a time could provide a good governance to the Indian peoples. And one thing is, in the last 20 years or before the 20 years, there were so many times or incidents where there was a struggle, competition, and strong opposing tendencies of states or within the states. One states compete with the other states, and there was no unity between the states. Sometimes other states make their groups and oppose jointly the unions. But the Indian federal structure have refined through the competition and the contrast of union and state relationship, or through the cooperation. However, it have refined at a limit, but we are facing so many challenges. And next is the Morris Jones. Morris Jones have stated, sometimes in Indian politics we have seen the federalism of the bargaining, where the states governments directly bargains with the union government to provide a conditional cooperation on the specific issues. So, the various dimensions of federalism in India, simply federalism, it is not applicable in India in the philosophical sense, and it was deviated toward the cooperative federalism or sometimes the bargaining federalism. One is the tendency of centralization. When we study the various aspects of federalism, definitely it has shown the constitution makers desires to invest the more powers in the hand of centers, or according to the Ivor Jennings, the Indian constitution is provides more powers to the union government. So, it is the strong tendency of center within the federalism. If we emphasize over the centralization, according to some national parties, mostly national parties wants to their hegemony or dominance over the national politics or the country. So, they always try to capture or acquire all the executive, financial, legislative powers in their hands, but it was strongly opposed by the supporters of the decentralization. Mainly these are the regional level parties, they are the supporters of decentralization, because regional parties generally tries to acquire the financial power to form the schemes or execute these schemes according to their opinion or ideology, so that they can ensure the strong social basis, and initially or gradually they could obtain the status of national party. And the regional parties always have tried to cut down the social base of the national level parties. So, this is simply not a ideological debate. Here this is a matter of political disputes and also the matter of developmental issues. So, then you have to study the concept of centralization and decentralization in India, and what are the different points from the supporters of centralization or decentralization. And one more thing is the decentralization we have done from the center, state and the local level, the local bodies, rural or urban local bodies. So, then how can we say the tendency of decentralization after the execution of constitution? We have obtained the remarkable achievement in case of empowerment of women's or societal the weaker sections, or we have achieved a level of good governance at the grassroots level or the place panchayat municipalities level. So, you have to study the various dimensions of decentralization. Definitely we can say through the decentralization we have achieved so many qualities at the panchayat or municipalities level. Now, the union government is directly connected these panchayats, and through this union government can direct, can instruct, can take feedback or can order to follow the different schemes, and central government now continuously taking a feedback and suggesting the state government to provide cooperation at the different level. So, governance, the level of governance we have improved at the grassroots level. So, this is the another aspect of this. And second is, if we increase the centralization, why it is said it shall not be a or healthy for the nation's integrity and solidarities, but it has two aspects. In case of we want to ensure national unity integrity, so definitely we want a strong center in case of the disaster management and to control or prevent any pandemics or epidemics. Definitely center government have the skilled machinery and abundant source of the resources, and so the government should be provided the more powers. However, it may be on the other side the violation of the powers of the state, but it is necessary because we have to ensure the nation's unity and integrity, and we have to prevent different kinds of the epidemics in the country, and we have to protect our peoples from the effects of disaster, different kinds of disasters. And the second aspect of centralization is some political parties through their planned agenda or political approach, they try to not only spread or to maintain their domination. So, this is not a good tradition, this is not a good or healthy for the country. So, definitely the second aspect must be criticized and we never will support this. So, there are the two scopes of the study of union states. Third is the conventional sectors or the conventional area of studies, in which we can study the earlier planning commission and NDC, but in 2015 they were replaced by the Niti Aayog. So, what kind of changes have been seen in the Indian political system after the establishment of Niti Aayog at the policy making or execution? Definitely one thing we can say, in the time of Niti Aayog there are the least dispute between the union states, but at the time of planning commission and NDC these disputes were at the highest level. So, definitely we can say Niti Aayog have tried to remove different kinds of problems or to resolve the matters of the states. So, then we have to study or analyze the role of Niti Aayog. This is the conventional matter. Second is the office of governor. Governor of the states is appointed, transferred or dismissed by the union government. On the advice of union government, all the decisions are taken by the Indian presidents, and the state governor is a constitutional head in the states and he supervises the functioning of state government, and generally it has seen through the state's governor, union government had tried to adversely affect the state governments, and on the reports of the state government so many state governments have dismissed, so it has become a disputed matter. So, then the role of governors should be studied under the various changes in the light of Sarkariya Commission too, and the role of all India services like the IAS, IPS officers. Finally, union government have control over these officers because the termination of these officials only by the assent of the union government, not by the state government. And the other aspect like the Central Finance Commission or the role of the Election Commission. Central Finance Commission mainly prepares or makes the standards or norms for the allocation or distribution of resources between the union states, but the composition of Central Finance Commission is determined by the union government. So, the recommendation of the Central Finance Commission generally are seen at the on the advice or order of the union government. The Central Finance Commission did not suggestion to transfer the more financial resources to the states, while the states are feeling so many crises, they are facing so many crises to implement their social welfare schemes. So, then the role of Finance Commission conventionally must be studied between the relationship and the Election Commission. You know, Election Commission conduct election for not only Lok Sabha but also Vidhan Sabha, state legislative assemblies, and the Election Commission is a union body and it is controlled regulated by the union government. So, the sometimes states have objection or make so many allegations over the functioning or transparency of the election commission. So there are some conventional issues between the union and state relationship, so you must prepare these topics in this way. And now recently the emerging challenges or threat before the union and state relationship, one is the deployment of the central agency like the ED and the CBI. Mainly the states are opposing the deployments and the proactive role of these agencies, and we have to study the agencies should function according to their mechanism or their powers criteria or on the orders of union government. So sometimes these agencies have misused, union government have tried to force the state governments. And second, the different laws or act like the NRC, National Register of Citizenship, or the CAA. Most of states in India have opposed to obey these norms. So these are the new emerging issues. And then what are the matter? It is simply a political or ideological matters, or sometimes there are some hidden causes behind this. So you have to identify the both aspects. And the other laws like the Farms Bill, central government tried to execute these bills, but after the strong oppose of the different states or the farmers, finally government withdraw the bills. And the other mechanism like the deployment of paramilitary forces in the states. However, to maintain law and order is the absolute rights of the states, but in case of the terrorist attacks or the insurgency in the states, central government deployed the paramilitary forces, and most of the states said it is a violation of the states authorities. And the APSPA laws, Armed Forces Special Power Act, whenever the union government have deployed the act in Jammu Kashmir, Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Tripura, Mizoram, most of states have opposed this. And these are the new emerging issues or challenges between the union and state relationship. And you also studied what kind of agenda is before the union government and what the union government have determined to execute or present the different kind of laws or schemes, and what will be the approach of states, cooperative or protesting. And the topics must be studied within the criteria. So then definitely I think you will have obtain important or vital information after the discussion. And after this you can see the previous year question paper. So many questions you can answer. Here I simply just presented a synopsis of this topic. For detailing you may contact for us. We are providing the offline classes and we covers each question paper in the 20 days. Thank you.